Hello and welcome to Small Town Big Business, a podcast about doing big business in rural Middle America. I'm your co-host, Deb Barnett, also with Southern Illinois Now, a 17-county regional economic development initiative where we advance Southern Illinois as a great place to live, work, and of course to do business.
And I'm Russell Williams. I'm director of EThOs. We're a small business incubator, co-working spaces. We do training and development here in downtown Marion, Illinois. Thank you for joining us today. We also want to thank our sponsors for making Small Town Big Business possible. And that includes thank you to Arcadia Wealth Group, Watermark Auto Group Foundation, Light Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling, Union Street Arts, and Swinford Media Group.
And you can join our Small Town Big Business community on any podcast platform and also our YouTube channel just by searching Small Town Big Business, and you can subscribe for free so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. If you're new to the podcast, we talk with successful business owners and founders about how and why they are succeeding in business in small towns right here in Marion, Illinois, or as we're talking today in Anna, Illinois, or throughout the Midwest even. So with that, I want to I'm so excited to welcome our two guests today, Crystal Houseman and Sherri Agers. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, excited to have you.
Yeah, we're very excited. So I have been looking forward to this. We all grew up in the same small town in Anna, Illinois, which is just south of here, just south of Marion. And wanted to talk with you a little bit about some great things that you're doing there in Anna. But I want to start with you, Crystal, because I know that you were a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Here in Marion, at Marion Junior High. Yeah,
Okay.
I taught math at Marion Junior High.
Oh, I need your help. I have a 14-year-old, and math is honestly, that's what we're dealing with right now.
Oh, it took me a lot to get my husband through college math, so.
So teacher, principal, a long career in education.
Yes.
And retired and started beekeeping, as I understand it.
Well, actually, I was a beekeeper prior to retiring. It was just a hobby. It was actually helped me relieve a lot of stress. As you can imagine, being a high school principal, it was a little bit stressful. But I did enjoy it, and I actually enjoyed I can find good in everything that I do, but I did enjoy that and enjoyed teaching in Marion. And then
So the fear of being stung by bees is not...
You know, I didn't get stung for, over a year and a half.
Okay.
And I got actually very comfortable with them until I finally did get stung 30 times. But and I tried to talk my sister into joining me in this hobby, but she's like, oh, another hobby that Crystal's trying to get me involved in. But actually, it was just, and I didn't sell anything. I just gave my honey away and didn't do anything. But when I retired, you have to fill that void. I don't, much like you just aren't going to sit around. So I started selling my honey inside Annabelle Market in Anna. And it just took off, But I'm so proud of it. And so I, anytime somebody says, hey, do you want to do this? Of course I do. And so that took off. And then...
And the name of the company is?
C's, Bees, Honey, and More.
Okay.
I've seen that,
Yeah. And the C comes from my husband and I. He leaves me notes in the morning and he signs it. And then I sign mine C. So that's how we came with C's, Bees. And that just kind of grew and grew and grew. And then I was in Annabelle Market and saw a need for a clothing boutique. So I opened a clothing boutique. Well, I called my husband. I'm like, what do you think about this? And he's like, anything you touch is gold. Go ahead and do it. And so the next weekend, I flew to Atlanta and went to my first clothing market, which is pretty ironic because if you ask anybody in my family, I'm not a shopper.
She's not at all.
I go in and buy the necessities, and so everyone's like, oh, that had to be so much fun. 15 floors of shopping. It was actually quite terrifying for me. But then it just took off. I did it at the perfect time. It was, 2021 and everybody was wanting to shop again. And so then I had a grandbaby, Baylor Kate Peck, just in case you're wondering. And she's the light of my life. Yeah. Well, then I had to open a kids boutique. So I call that C's Bitsy Bees. So they're all bee themed.
And when you talk about the boutiques, these aren't standalone stores.
No, they're all inside Annabelle Market.
Okay, which we'll get to in just a minute too, because
Rhonda Biddle was the owner, and she was so good to me. Anytime I'd say, "Hey, Rhonda, what do you think about this idea?" She's like, "Yeah, go for it," and it's paid off. I've had retirement has been so much fun, and then a few probably year and a half later, Rhonda, the owner of Annabelle Market in Nana, decides it's time for her to retire and she's going to sell the business. And my husband again was like, "You need to buy that, Crystal." Oh. And I'm like, "But I'm retired, John." And I sleep in and travel. I travel a lot. Okay. And finally, we were on our way to a birthday party, and I'm like, "Somebody's going to buy this building." They had expressed interest in it. And he's like, "You need to do it." And I said, "I don't want to do it by myself." So I called my sister on the way to the party, and she's like,
and
"Okay."
Is she like another hobby?
Yeah. She was like,
"Here we go
Oh
again."
my gosh.
It's been my dream. Like, I've always loved Annabelle Market. And I was so jealous whenever she was in there, because I'm still working full time. Yeah. And I've always wanted a booth in a resale market or in a boutique and that kind of thing. So I go down there all the time, and I would help with events, and I love this store. I just gush about it all the time. Like, I love it. And so when she called me, it was the only question I had was, "I still have to work, so I'll sign whatever you want me to sign, but I need you to run it until I retire in a few years, and then I'll help more." So,
Sure.
And I said, "When I travel, I need you to be able to cover for." We both travel a lot, and so we, like, within 30 minutes had it all hashed out how we were going to make this happen. Okay. Called the bank on Monday, and things moved fast.
4 weeks later, we were business owners.
We bought everything inside the store and owned it, and it has been such a joy ever
Sherri,
since.
what were you doing at the time?
I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm a manager at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and so I've been there for 22 years, and I still have a few more years till I can retire. So I do this as a hobby now on the side, and she handles the day-to-day running, and then I opened my first booth, and now I have 4 booths. So
wow, it's addicting.
It is.
It's addicting.
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun. We have a great community. We have super great customers. They become our family. Like, when Sherri first came, she's like, "You know everybody, you talk to everybody." I'm like, "Well, you get to know them," and now she's just like me. She's like, "Remember that couple from Paducah?" So it's just joyful.
Well, and you both light up when you talk about it. So we started with C's B's, but you mentioned Annabelle Market, of course. So tell us a little bit about what that is for those who haven't been there. You've talked about boutiques and booths and that sort of thing. What is Annabelle Market?
It's a treasure for Union County and Southern Illinois. We have over 9,000 square feet of vendor space. We have 30 plus available booths to rent out. We have new items, new boutique items. We have actually 3 clothing stores, 3 clothing boutiques inside Annabelle Market. We have antiques, we have used goods, we have pets. Sherri has a pet store in there. We have just about everything for everyone inside Annabelle Market.
And we also feature locally made products. So we have a whole section dedicated to things that are made in Southern Illinois. And we're always reaching out to different companies to see, would you like to be featured in our store? And so we have like Louise P&R, we have 17th Street, we have the Chocolate Factory in Golconda.
Oh, wow.
So we have all of those things that people can come to
Crystals.
Annabelle Market and find it all in one place.
Do you still sell the honey?
I do. I won't ever give that up.
And did you bring any today?
I didn't. I should have. I totally should have.
Rebroadcast this.
I totally should have. Oh gosh, I just bottled honey this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, we're very proud of our sponsoring or selling locally made products. Even Bald Knob Cross. You know, a lot of people want their items, but that's a drive. So we reached out to them. They love to be in there. Bloom Ridge Flowers and Farm. Recently, we just started selling their fresh tulips. I mean, we just reach out to whoever's available. Often it's food, which we don't hate, but it's been a joy. We have the best vendors. I will have to say that too.
Right.
When because we host large events frequently. We try to do at least one a month.
Usually 2.
Most often 2.
Yeah.
And the vendors volunteer and work these. If without them, we would not be able to do it.
Let's talk about Anna, Illinois, for those that may not know. So it's a small town.
It's a small town.
It's 8,000 or something, 6,000, somewhere
Yeah, I
in
think
that
that's
range.
probably even a little bit generous, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but your location's important.
It is.
How
we
so?
we actually there's so many great things about Anna. We are just as close to Cape Girardeau, Missouri as we are to Marion, and we're just a little bit farther to Paducah. So we're right in the center.
Yeah.
I know Marion says they're the hub, but we really are the hub because we can go to a lot of different places. It's just a joy. It's just,
And we're right in the middle of the wine trail too.
Wine
So
trail
people
is-
who are
Yeah.
down visiting the wine trail, a lot of times the wineries will send them to Annabelle because they know they can find souvenirs, they can find things to take, back to their families, that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun.
the wine trails bring so much tourism to Southern Illinois, and we particularly appreciate that. And we have a great bed and breakfast community and cabin community, and they all refer them to us.
We also have the Chamber booth, which has, so the Chamber of Commerce put a booth inside Annabelle, and it's a visitor center. So we have 2 TVs that display things to do in Southern Illinois.
Okay.
They've got pamphlets there, they've got different
Maps.
information, maps about Southern Illinois. So it helps get people in and show them what else is available.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you mentioned the Shawnee Hills Wine Trail. So for those listeners that might not be familiar with Southern Illinois, I've kind of lost count as to how many wineries there
I have
are
no idea.
along the trail. But I was going to say you can spend a whole day, multiple days, until the entire
days.
week. So it sounds like Annabelle Market has really become not only something for the community, but also a destination. Do you see that? Do you see people
Really, I
visiting?
do, and I'm so proud of that. And it's not anymore. It's not just us. It's not just Annabelle. We try to encourage people to come just to our area. We plan and organize different large events for everyone in town. It started a year ago when I opened Bitsy Bees. I reached out to all of the other boutiques in town because another gift to Anna is we have Naley Ray's boutique, we have Ken's boutique, we have Farmer's Daughter boutique. Who am I leaving out? Peace Hill's a new boutique in Jonesboro. We just have a plethora of places for people to shop. So you don't just make the drive to Anna to go to Annabelle, even though that could keep you busy. We tell everybody to go walk around one time, one direction, and go back because you'll see new things.
Yeah.
But I reached out to everyone and said, hey, I'm having my grand opening. I'm going to have princesses. Do you guys want a princess? They all rented a princess. We had 11 princesses. We did our second one this year. 11 princesses this year. Our town was full of kids. So much fun. Then we did Easter egg hunt, which we're doing this week.
This week, yeah.
And so we organized a citywide Easter egg hunt. So everyone comes to Union County, not just to Annabelle, but to visit all the other businesses as well.
And it's not just the boutiques either. It'll be like Davis Pastries will do
The best thing.
The coffee shop.
the coffee house.
Kiki's
Yes,
Coffee
yes.
House.
So basically, any business, the Brick House will usually
Brick House always participate
as well.
H&R
So
Block.
It's like come to Anna and spend the day and get to know what we have to offer.
So how important is for the community business owners to come together? Because you're talking about something that it's unique. I don't know if that always exists. At least it might be generational. But tell us some of the elements of how did that start?
That is significant. We all work really well together. No one wants to be the center of the spotlight. We all want to work together and make our town and our community the center of the spotlight. And we embrace everyone. There's no one that we said, oh, you can't participate. We probably reach out to some people who aren't interested, but we still reach out to them every time, just to make sure they want, are invited.
Well, and I do have to say, because I don't have a boutique. She has a boutique inside Annabelle. There's 3 boutiques in Annabelle. There's also several boutiques outside of Annabelle, and those boutique owners lift each other up. That is something you don't normally see. They shop from each other's boutique. You'll see Ken's in our store. You'll see Crystal over at their store. We wore outfits from Ken's boutique at our big event at Christmas, and everybody was like, where did you get it? Go to
Right
Ken's
down the
boutique.
street.
So we are always, everybody in the boutique, they get together, they make plans, they decide what can we do to help each other out, and you don't normally find that.
No, and there's no jealousy amongst us. We all recognize that there's value in working together and supporting each other and lifting each other up, especially as small business owners, you have to have a community that you can lean on or reach out to, and we all do that.
Right.
So it's a joy.
I want to go back to the events that you mentioned. So that's kind of unique too. People who own a business don't always host events for their downtown, but you do, and it draws hundreds of people, I feel like, to the downtown area.
We had over 400 kids at the Princess thing this year. We doubled how many we had last year, just because word gets out. But we had Ken's Boutique organized a Galentine event in January, and it was we brought back moonlight shopping in Union County. Now, when I say Ken's Boutique organized it, all the boutique owners met and said, hey, we want to do this. And Ken's is the one, she's really, savvy when it comes to technology. So she creates all the marketing and we all share it. That was a ginormous success. It was when we had the ice storm. So everyone was, iced in for like 4 days. We're like, oh gosh, I don't know how this is going to go. Well, everybody's ready to get out. And it was moonlight shopping. Everybody's like, this is what it was like when we were kids. We used to have moonlight shopping in downtown Anna when we were kids. It was so much fun. I can't even tell you how many people we had through our store.
And I've heard you describe it as it really brought that small town alive again, right?
So just walk down our streets when we have an event and people are just buzzing with activity. Mm-hmm. Our biggest downfall is parking, and people have to park quite a distance away. They never complain about it.
Yeah, that's good.
Never complain about it because they just like to see everybody happy again and full of life.
That's great.
And we do have like 26, I think, vendors in our store. And so we want to make sure we highlight them as well. And so one of the things that we do is each month when we're planning our events, we reach out to the vendors and ask them if they want to do anything special for the event. At least sometimes come in, meet the people. We also started doing monthly vendor spotlights, or we try to do it every few weeks, but it ends up being monthly. So people can get to know the people behind the store. They know they come in, they buy books at our shop, but here's the person who brings those to you. So it helps, give that personal touch.
Yeah. So it sounds like everything's perfect. We know in business world, not everything is perfect. We do want to be positive. But what are some things that
not perfect moments we've had this year?
Now that you've gone into business, and that wasn't your background, right? No. You don't have business degrees, as far as I know.
No, but we're both very type A personalities. Okay. So as far as financing and the financial aspect of it, that we manage very well.
Plus, she was a math teacher, so
and I when I say I'm type A, everything is color coded, and
there you go.
But the things that you don't plan for are the ones that have thrown us a little bit of a curveball. Like we had a massive flood in our building. Well, when we first owned it, it didn't rain for 3 months. We had no rain.
Yeah.
And so then when we got that first rain and we had 4 inches of rain, water was coming from everywhere. And it took us about, I want to say 3 weeks before we discovered the sump pump system had been filled in and not active anymore. And so after 24/7 of vacuuming water up, and at one point I was even in tears. I called my sister and I said, I'd burn this building down if this dang water wouldn't put it right out. But we got hold of Woods Basement Center that came in, put in a new sump pump, and so and it actually worked out for the best.
It was for the good.
Because we redid that whole back area and opened up more vendor space.
Right.
So, yes, our pocketbook
now
hurts.
We can look back at it and be like, it was a good thing.
It was a good thing. Yeah. It made us make some changes that we were planning, in our scheme.
Because we only took it over November 1st, so we haven't had it that long. And so this was things that were planned for the future that just got moved up a little faster.
Yeah.
But it worked out great because it looks really good.
It looks really good.
And we have new vendors. You said we just added 4 new vendors this past week. So, it's just.
So you mentioned the vendors several times, and that's kind of a unique business model. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think there are other communities where something like this might work really well. So those vendors might not have a standalone brick and mortar, but they can certainly have a presence in a market like this. So
absolutely.
Talk about that.
And when I first opened the clothing store, I told everyone I would not have been able to do this if I'd had my own brick or mortar, because you have to work it every single day. Being a vendor, you don't have to work it. You can just place your items there, price them, restock. We do all the work. We sell it. We pay the taxes on it. We do all of this stuff. So it's a, perfect world for someone that's wanting to start a small business. Go inside a market that already has a following, has a large foot traffic community already.
And the plus for us is that we do have some vendors who work, so we don't have the overhead of paying salaries. So some vendors work in exchange for their booth rent, and so it saves us from having to work every day up there. But then it also, makes it where they get more of a profit from their whatever they sell. But we try to make sure we have a wide variety of vendors. We have people who sell books, used books. We have people who sell
new and used furniture.
Shawnee Hills Lavender has a booth at our store, and they sell all their lavender projects. Boutique. She also has a kitchen boutique. Yeah,
we have new clothes, used clothes. We just have antiques, new furniture, old furniture. We have a wide variety. Right. Bath soaps. It's perfect for small business owners, though. They have a place that they can bring their stuff instead of having to sell it online or
going to
set up a
shows.
Flea market event. They just put it in there and get their name out. It really is a treasure. I know we are biased because we own it, but we always thought it was a treasure before we owned it. And I tell everyone, Rhonda Biddle was the previous owner. She gave us a gift selling us Annabelle Market.
And we're so grateful.
When did she start Annabelle Market? How long has it been
18 years. She had it for 18 years.
Really?
Yeah, and it started out as, it wasn't named Annabelle Market. It was this and that. And then, I don't know if you know this, but the Annabelle Hydrangea was founded in Anna, Illinois. So we have an Annabelle Fest now. And so Rhonda changed it to Annabelle Market.
Okay.
In honor of that. But yeah, she did the hard work in getting the building and the business set up and having a name already out there, and gave it to us. We gave her a check, but they gave it to us. And we have, changed it and added more stuff to it and put our little flair on it with the local businesses and different things.
That's so good.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think as a vendor, as somebody who has worked at different shows and things like that, when I first went into Annabelle Market, I was just surprised that more people don't do something like this, just because you set your stuff in there, you put your prices on it, they go through and they pick everything from everybody's booth and check out up front. It's so easy for the shopper. And so shoppers will come in and they don't even realize what all we have anymore. There's so many new things coming in, and sometimes they'll come up with something and I'll be like, where did you get that? Like, I walked through the store and I didn't see that, or I would have bought it myself.
Because new stuff is brought in every
day.
And honestly, our booth rent is equivalent or less than if you set up at a market for the weekend.
Right.
So it's a win-win. And it's a win for us when we bring in new vendors and, more business comes with that.
Do you employ others? Or is it just you?
That's the good thing about it, is that we don't, nobody is paid. Everyone volunteers to work there.
Right.
So going back to Anna, Illinois, I think it's population of about 5,000 people. Does that sound right?
That's closer than 8,000.
Okay. So there's a lot of support in the community that you've already mentioned, but for people opening a business, support is a big part of that, a support system. So talk a little bit about what kind of support, you've talked about the support you provide for each other, but are there other sources of support that have helped you move forward?
I would have to say our husbands, definitely, and our families. My poor husband and her husband, when we had the last flood, and I cried lots of times that day. They were both there in two different spots, and making repairs, and when we redid the back room, they're in there doing it all. So our spouses, definitely. I also say our community is great. We have a fabulous, Sherri mentioned Chamber of Commerce. We have a director there who's wonderful, Tracy Smith. Our City of Anna has a new director, Dory Bigler. She helps organize events, and often I'll text Dory and I'm like, hey, we want to do this. Can we block off this alley to do this? And she's like, let me find out. And then she'll get back to me. When we had to put in the new sump pump, Dory, do I have to have any kind of permit to get this done? Let me get back to you. So I would say our community is fabulous. when I personally opened the clothing boutique, like I said, I wasn't even a shopper at the time. Now I do it quite
At the
often.
time, I heard that.
Now
She still doesn't like it, but she does.
I still do it all the time.
I want to go back real quick because you kind of glossed over how much your husband helps. So we're so fortunate that her husband John does what he does and he's a landscaper. Okay. So he has his own crew. They carry stuff upstairs all the time.
Rip out walls.
They rip out walls. Whenever there was the ice storm, you could walk. I mean, like, we were only closed half of one day. They cleaned. I mean, like, he has really been working very hard almost every day, and I think he's ready to get back to landscaping. Like, he's like,
let's at least mention his company. What's the name?
Houseman's Landscaping.
Okay, there you go.
And he has quite a presence in Marion.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
the Marion community has been good to my husband's business too.
Yeah, so John has been amazing, and has totally been behind her 100%. My husband James, he helps as much as he can. But I'm not down there all the time either, so it's like whenever I go down there, he does come in and help. You'll see him back there pricing things for me, hanging things for me, that kind of stuff, and vacuuming water, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to really shout out for John because I always say we would have been in a much different space right now if we didn't have John and his crew available, if it wouldn't have been during the winter when they were less busy.
I know. I called my sister one day last week. I said, I'm pretty sure my husband hates me right now, but the wall is painted and the floor is painted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And John's just an overall great guy. Anyone who knows him knows he's a great guy.
But if you know my husband, and this is the philosophy we live by too, if you're good to him and you support his business, he supports you. Like, I drive a Toyota and I have forever. I don't even, I don't care what I drive, but he's like, Marion Toyota always utilizes Houseman's Landscaping and Jeff Mayer specifically at his home. So he's like, you got to give your money back to those who give it to you. So that's the philosophy we keep too, and operating if you're good to people, people are good to you. Yeah. And that's how we live. If people aren't good to you, then they're missing out because we could be so good to them. I do want to mention, when I opened my clothing boutique, I was a newbie at that, and I reached out to Betsy Oxford, who owns Naley Ray's in Anna, and she's had her business, I don't even know how many years, but it's a clothing and home goods store. It's a small standalone, and she was really helpful. How do you display your blue jeans? They're driving me nuts. She's like, well, this is what I use. And now that we have more clothing boutiques in town, the four of us always are bouncing ideas or saying, hey, where do you get your bags and that? So there is support within our boutique community too.
That's good. Mm-hmm. If you were going to start all over again, or you knew somebody that wanted to start a new business, is there anything that insights that you would give them?
Don't hesitate to do it. Okay. I know a lot of time fear holds people back. And if I didn't have a husband who every time I had a crazy idea, would be like, okay, go ahead and do it, I probably wouldn't have jumped on to the clothing boutique or the kids boutique without that support. Go ahead and take the risk, because there are people that will help you. We all want you to be successful, because if you're successful in our town, then everyone else in the town, the food industry, the gas stations, everybody benefits from it.
Right.
Anything that we missed?
Basically, an event in Anna is something you don't want to miss, because everyone goes above and beyond to make it successful.
Yeah. So people need to follow our page, Annabelle Market.
Okay.
We have usually one daytime event, usually on a Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. We're open on Sundays now, so we definitely want to get that out there because that's new. But we usually have a daytime event, and then we try to have one nighttime event every month.
Friday night shopping.
And so watch our Facebook page, and you'll find out what we have going on. Mm-hmm. But you want to come check it out.
And what's your address if somebody wanted to come find you?
300 South Main, Anna, Illinois.
Yeah, right downtown.
Right downtown.
That's
right
awesome.
downtown.
I have another question. Russ usually asks this one, but I'm going to ask it this time.
Sure.
Especially now that you have retired, although you're not really retired anymore. You're doing all of this and you're closing in on retirement. Most times people kind of start slowing down a little bit. So talk about your why. Why this business and what kind of drives you?
Why? Because it's joyful. And if I had not already had a booth inside Annabelle, I don't know that I would have done it. But I love visiting with the customers, and I feel like it's not really a job. It really isn't. even though like last night I was there till 10:30 at night, trying to get my new clothes in and whatever. I think it's just joyful. It's fun. I feel like we're visiting more than we're working, and people appreciate it.
Well, and people retire earlier now. So like I plan to retire at 55. That's my goal. And so I knew that I'm not going to be done at 55. So I would do something. I would volunteer. I would do something. So this is perfect for me. Like I work 1 or 2 days a week now, usually a Saturday or Sunday. And then I go down there 2 or 3 evenings a week, but it's like a part-time job kind of. And then when I retire, I'll be able to throw myself into it even more. But it is like my retirement plan is to handle Annabelle. And she'll be ready to step back a little bit more. And she says she is. I don't think she will, but she says she is.
Neither one of us sit still.
Yeah, so I walk in and I just smile. Like I just love the store. I go in early on Sundays usually and just walk around and just enjoy the store. I think it's just because it's a joyful place.
And our vendors are like our family to us. So when they have success, we are so happy. We feel like, it's part of us that it's being successful. So
it makes me think of the quote that when you find what you love or do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, and we don't really call this work because it really isn't. Like I don't have to get, like waking up this morning to come here was kind of hard because I don't get up early anymore. So we don't have to be there.
Yeah.
We like to be there.
Yeah. So even if I don't have anything to do, sometimes I live in Hearst, so I drive down. It takes me about 40 minutes. Sometimes I don't necessarily have anything to do, but I'll drive down anyway just to, see, do I need to clean anything? Or what? I just enjoy the store.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would enjoy it as much if I wasn't doing it with my sister. We've always been close, even though, as she tells everybody, I'm significantly older. We've always been close, but now we talk almost every day, multiple times a day, or see each other. So it's even more fun. I don't think it would be as much fun without having her there to bounce ideas off of, or cry with, or laugh with, or share joys with.
Right.
Well, it's brought so much joy to you, but I think anyone in Anna or even that has visited Annabelle Market would say it's brought so much joy to the community. And as we mentioned earlier, really brought things back to life, which is so inspiring.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah,
it has been fun. Thank you. It was worth waking up early.
Yeah. Crystal and Sherri from Annabelle Market, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you to our listeners, our sponsors, for making Small Town Big Business possible each time you listen and watch. We want to thank our sponsors again. Thank you to Arcadia Wealth Group and Swinford Media Group, also Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV. Don't forget about Fowler Heating and Cooling, Watermark Auto Group, Union Street Arts. Thank you again for Luke O'Neill. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to know more about EThOs as a small business incubator, some co-working spaces, training and development for small businesses here in downtown Marion, you can go to ethosmarion.org, or you can contact me, Russell, at watermarkethos.org.
And EThOs is such a great space. So thanks for hosting the podcast here always. Again, I'm Deb Barnett with Southern Illinois Now, and you can find us at southernillinoisnow.org or on any of the social media platforms.
And I'm Russell Williams. Until next time.